All right, before we get started today, it's the 4th of July. And as I sit here recording this episode, our nation is celebrating 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I couldn't help but smile at the fact that I'm recording pillar number 4 of the SourceRx Functional Reset on the 4th of July. I don't believe that's a coincidence. Over the past few days, over the past week or so, I've been reflecting on the words that have shaped our nation for 2.5 centuries. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We often think of those words politically, but they've challenged me personally because what good is the freedom to pursue happiness if we don't have the health to enjoy it? Health is one of the greatest forms of freedom, the freedom to think clearly, to move without pain, to play with your children, to pick up your grandchildren, to serve your family, to fulfill your calling, to worship, to work, to travel, to enjoy the life God has entrusted to you. But here's something I've been thinking about a little more deeply. Independence and freedom, they aren't the same thing. Independence is declared, freedom is lived. 250 years ago, our founding fathers, in a moment, or what seemed like a moment, signed the Declaration of Independence. That declaration happened in, like I said, it seemed like a moment of time. But the freedom it created has been lived, protected, defended, and stewarded by generations ever since. Health works much the same way. There comes a moment when you declare your independence from the habits and the lifestyle that have been holding you back, from poor nutrition and inactivity, chronic stress, toxic environments, settling for less than the health God designed you to experience. But living in health, it's a daily act of stewardship. Every healthy meal, every workout, every adjustment, every good night's sleep, every glass of clean water, every toxin you remove from your environment, every healthy choice is another step toward living in freedom. So today, as we celebrate our nation's Declaration of Independence, I hope you'll also consider making your own declaration. One that says, I'm going to become a better steward of the body God has entrusted to me, because stewardship always precedes freedom. Welcome back to another episode of From the Source with Dr. Gary, where we cut through the noise, we find the source, and simplify the solution. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to remind you of something that sits at the very foundation of everything we teach here at the Source. Health is the result of sufficiency and purity. When the body has everything it needs, it has an incredible capacity to heal, adapt, repair, and thrive. Sufficiency means providing your body with enough of the things that support life. Healthy thoughts, actions, movement, nourishing food, clean waters, quality sleep, sunlight, fresh air, meaningful relationships, purpose, faith, everything that contributes to the full expression of health. Purity means reducing the things that interfere with those same processes. Environmental toxins, heavy metals, ultra-processed foods, chemical exposures, endocrine-disrupting chemicals, chronic stress, poor sleep, inflammation, and the countless modern-day exposures that slowly increase the burden on our body. One of the statements you've heard me say before is this: many of the chronic diseases that we see today are driven by a combination of deficiencies and or toxicities that disrupt normal physiology. The more deficiencies we develop, the more toxic burden we accumulate, the harder it becomes for the body's normal biochemical and physiological processes to function the way they were designed to. Health gives way to dis-ease, disharmony, and dysfunction. And that dysfunction over time progresses to disease. That's why we've spent the last several episodes building a foundation, the 4 pillars. Today, we're wrapping up the 4th and final pillar of the SourceRx Functional Reset. We've built the system one layer at a time. Pillar number 1, optimize the nervous system, the master system of the body, because every cell, every tissue, every organ depends on communication from the brain. If the brain can't communicate with the body, nothing else matters. Pillar number 2 is food sensitivities, because inflammation interferes with healing. When we remove food sensitivities, we reduce inflammation, we give the immune system a break, and we give the gut a break. You can't expect the body to repair itself while it's constantly fighting foods that don't work well. No, pillar number 3, we restore nutrient deficiencies, because your body can't build health without raw materials. Vitamins, minerals, essential fats, amino acids. Your body needs manufacturing materials to build the cells, tissues, organs, and system that it needs. It can't do that out of thin air. You have to supply them. And now we arrive at pillar number 4, toxicities. Not because toxins explain every health problem, not because every symptom is caused by heavy metals, but because every single day, especially in our modern day world, our body has to deal with them. The question isn't, am I exposed? The answer to that question is almost certainly, definitely. Yes, it is. The better question is, how much is my body carrying, and can it keep up? Can it detoxify on its own? Can it get rid of this burden? Your body was designed to detox. One of the biggest misconceptions in health today is that your body can't detox. Actually, God designed one of the most remarkable detoxification systems imaginable. Every minute of every day, your liver's filtering blood, your kidneys are filtering plasma, your lungs are removing carbon dioxide, your digestive tract is eliminating waste, your skin is sweating, your lymphatic system is carrying away cellular debris. God didn't forget detoxification. He designed it into every one of us. Our job isn't to replace those systems. Our job is to stop overwhelming them. So let's take a look at this from a toxic bucket perspective. So I use this with patients all the time. Imagine carrying around a bucket. Every exposure throughout the day adds another drop. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, the products you put on your skin, the chemicals under your kitchen sink, the plastic you use, the pesticides you're exposed to, heavy metals, air pollution, poor sleep, chronic stress, every one of them adds another drop. One exposure probably won't overflow the bucket, but day after day, month after month, year after year, the bucket fills. Eventually it overflows, and that's often when symptoms begin to appear. Our goal isn't to eliminate every toxin. That's impossible. Our goal is to lower the total load so the body can keep up, because every healthier decision is another drop removed from the bucket. Every healthier decision is another investment in your freedom. Freedom to think clearly, to move well, to serve, to pursue your purpose. So where do these toxins come from that we're talking about? People often imagine toxins only come from factories in the environment or hazardous waste sites. The truth is, most exposure happens in ordinary, everyday life, from the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, the products we clean our homes with, the products we put on our skin, the containers we store our food in, the receipts we touch, the choices we make every single day. So the next logical question becomes, how do we know what's toxic, what toxic burden someone can handle, and what we're actually carrying? So how do we move beyond guessing? Well, we start testing. That's exactly why we utilize something called the hair tissue mineral analysis, HTMA. In this next chapter in today's program, I'm going to pull together an actual HTMA report and walk you through exactly what we're looking at when we test for these toxicities, these heavy metals, what they mean in the body, how they affect the body, and why understanding your toxic burden is one of the most important steps towards restoring health. So let's take a look at this. In the next screen, those of you watching on YouTube or seeing this as a video, you'll see the backdrop of the hair tissue mineral analysis, the heavy metals report. Okay, as we jump into chapter 2 of pillar number 4, toxicities, chapter 2 is all about the HTMA and what it's really telling us. So we've talked about toxic burden, right? Let's move from theory into something practical. One of the questions I hear all the time, Dr. Gary, how do I know if toxicities are affecting me? It's a great question, because at the source, we don't guess, we test. It's the best way for us to know. One of the tools we use is called the hair tissue mineral analysis, or HTMA. If you're watching this on video, you'll see behind me an example, a sample of one of the reports, the toxicity reports. Okay, so let's walk through this together. So first off, why do we use hair? One of the first questions people ask is, why do we test hair instead of blood? Think about it this way. Your blood is kind of like a checking account. It's tightly regulated. Your body works incredibly hard to keep the levels in your blood within a very narrow range because your life depends on it. Our hair is different. Hair grows slowly over time. As it grows, minerals and certain toxic metals are deposited into the hair shaft. Instead of giving us a snapshot of what's circulating at one moment, it gives us a longer-term picture of what your body's been dealing with over the past several months. It's one of the most important pieces, or it's one more piece of the puzzle, not the whole picture, but it's another important piece, a very valuable one. So what does the report show? This report looks at dozens of minerals and environmental metals. Each one is categorized as low, medium, or high. If you see behind me, you'll see some green colors. Those are the ones that are graded as low. The ones that are orange, yellowish orange, those are medium, and the reds are high. The higher the level, the more concern there is. So you'll see to the left side of the screen, you'll see some of the metals listed from aluminum and antimony, arsenic, chromium, cobalt. You'll see copper, gold, lead, goes right on down all the way to the end of where, Z is zirconium. But it will give us a reading and understanding, low, medium, or high. Obviously, but like everything, living comfortably in the green, if something shows up in yellow, it's something to pay attention to. If something lands in the red, that tells us this may be an area where your body is under greater stress. Now, I want to say something that's incredibly important. Number one, don't panic. This isn't a report designed to scare you. It's a report designed to educate you. The goal isn't fear, it's awareness, because awareness leads to action, and action leads to better health. We can make better choices with better information. So remember, we want to find the source of the problem. That's what we're doing. When I review these reports with patients, I don't expect them to memorize 40 or 50 different metals. In fact, I created a complete source toxicity reference guide where, similar to this report, you'll see the metal listed. It gives you an understanding of where those metals or toxins may come from, exposure might come from in the environment. But I went a step deeper with this, and I talked about how those metals can actually block the absorption of certain nutrients and symptoms that can show up. So I'm going to put a reference of this in the show notes today. So when we go through a consultation with someone, I simply highlight the metals that are elevated for you. Every person's report is different. Your report reflects your environment, your occupation, your hobbies and lifestyle and diet, your unique exposure. So then we begin asking better questions. Where is this coming from? What can we reduce? What can we improve? That's what we do with the source. We don't chase symptoms, we find the source. Toxicities and deficiencies go hand in hand. So there's something fascinating about this, is that people often think of toxicities and deficiencies as completely separate. They're not. In fact, they're deeply connected. Imagine your cells are like a parking lot. The parking spaces represent receptor sites where nutrients belong. Vitamins, minerals, trace elements, those nutrients are the cars that belong there. Now imagine heavy metals are vehicles that don't belong in that parking lot. They pull into those same parking spaces. When they occupy those spaces, the nutrients that should be there can't do their job. That's one of the reasons toxicities and deficiencies often exist together. It's not enough to simply remove toxic metals. You also have to restore the nutrients they've displaced. That's why pillar 3 naturally leads to pillar 4. Remember, pillar 3 was all about nutrient deficiencies, okay, and restoring those deficiencies. So we restore what the body needs while reducing what interferes with it. So the metals, the toxins, where do they come from? We often assume that heavy metals only affect people who work in factories. The truth is, most exposure comes from everyday life. It can come from food we eat, water we drink, the air we breathe, household chemicals, personal care products, old plumbing, industrial pollution, certain occupations, even certain hobbies. One person's elevated mercury might come from eating large predatory fish several times a week. Someone else's elevated lead might come from living in an older home. Someone else's elevated cadmium could be related to smoking. Someone else's aluminum exposure may come from cookware, food packaging, or other everyday experiences, even vaccines. The important thing isn't memorizing every source. The important thing is recognizing that our environment matters. The goal isn't perfection. Okay, it's unrealistic. Here's where I think people sometimes go wrong. They hear the words like mercury, lead, arsenic, or aluminum and immediately become afraid. That's not the message. Okay, remember, our goal isn't perfection. Our goal is progress. We're not trying to eliminate every exposure. That is absolutely impossible. We're trying to reduce the total burden. Every healthier decision lowers the load. Every healthier decision removes another obstacle. Every healthier decision gives the body one less thing to manage. Your body is always trying to protect you, right? It will never do anything to injure or destroy itself. That is the essence of the body's innate, inborn, God-given intelligence. One of the things I find most amazing about the human body, it's always trying to protect and preserve you and adapt you. Even when you're exposed to toxins, your body immediately begins working to neutralize them, transform them, bind them, and eliminate them. The problem isn't that your body doesn't know what to do. The problem is that modern life often asks it to do more than it was designed to handle all at once. Think about the world your great-grandparents lived in. Now compare it to today. There's more plastics, more chemicals, more processed foods, more pollution, more synthetic fragrances, pesticides, medications, stress. No wonder so many people feel overwhelmed. Sometimes their bodies are overwhelmed too, not just their mind, but their body. The good news is this: the body has an incredible capacity to recover when we reduce the incoming burden. We restore nutritional sufficiency, support healthy detoxification pathways, and give the body time. Remarkable things can happen if we do those things. That's why we don't stop with testing. Testing simply tells us where we are. The next step is asking, what can I do about it? And the answer starts with reducing everyday exposures that continue filling the bucket where you can. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about exactly how to do that. I'll show you practical steps you can begin taking today, many of them simple, many of them inexpensive. They can dramatically reduce your toxic burden over time, because remember, health isn't built by one dramatic decision. It's built by hundreds of small decisions made consistently day after day. Consistency beats intensity. So let's get practical in this next chapter. All right, as we move into chapter 3 of pillar number 4, toxicities, chapter 3 is lowering the toxic load, practical steps you can take today, right? So now that we know what the report tells us, we understand that toxicities can interfere with normal physiology. We know that heavy metals and other environmental toxins can increase the burden our body has to carry. Not only that, remember, these toxins, they are anti-nutrients. They block the absorption. Remember the parking lot, the cars that I gave the example of, they block the absorption of nutrients that your body needs to run and govern all of the physiological processes. So we want to reduce the burden our body has to carry. So now comes the question everybody wants answered. What can I actually do about it? I love this part because this is where hope begins. This is where we get practical and tactical. You don't have to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Health isn't built by one giant decision. It's built by hundreds of small decisions, repeated consistently over time. Remember, I always say consistency beats intensity. Our goal isn't perfection. Our goal is progress. Our goal isn't to create a toxin-free life. That is impossible. Our goal is to create a lower toxic load lifestyle. Every healthier choice removes another obstacle. Every healthier choice gives the body one less thing to overcome. So let's talk about some of the biggest opportunities. One category of toxins that deserves special attention, they're called endocrine-disrupting chemicals, or EDCs, and they're everywhere in our environment. You may have never heard of them before, but I guarantee you've encountered them. So listen, hormones are our body's chemical messengers. They regulate metabolism, thyroid function, blood sugar, sleep, stress, fertility, growth, brain function, muscle development, and so much more. When endocrine disrupting chemicals interfere with those messages, normal physiology can be disrupted. And here's what's important. Usually it's not one massive exposure. It's thousands of tiny exposures day after day, year after year. It's death by 1,000 cuts. These chemicals are incredibly common. They're found in plastic food containers, disposable plastic water bottles, plastic wrap, takeout containers, food packaging, can linings, receipts printed on thermal paper, air fresheners, scented candles, laundry products, conventional cleaning products, pesticides, herbicides, shampoos, conditioners, lotions, body wash, cosmetics, fragrances. Again, this isn't to instill fear in you. It's about raising your awareness level. So once you know where they hide, you can begin making better decisions. Start with water. If I had to recommend one place for almost every family to begin, it would be water. The body is roughly 60% water. Every cell depends on it. Investing in a quality water filtration system is one of the best long-term investments you can make. So filtered water, filtered ice, filtered drinking water, simple, practical, effective. Stop microwaving plastic. I think most people are aware of this today, but this is one of the easiest wins. If you're reheating leftovers, don't microwave them in plastic. Use glass, use ceramic. Heat and plastic simply aren't a good combination. Little changes, big impact over time. Upgrade your water bottle. Think about how many times you drink water every day. Now multiply that over years. Instead of disposable plastic bottles, choose stainless steel or glass. Again, you're lowering the overall burden. Upgrade your food storage. A plastic container, as it wears out, They release microplastics. So as they wear out, replace them with glass. Don't throw everything away tomorrow or all at once. Just replace things as they naturally wear out. This is one of my favorite strategies because it removes the pressure and the cost. Remember, progress, not perfection. Improve the air inside your home. We spend most of our lives indoors, yet most people only think about outdoor pollution. Consider improving the quality of your indoor air, a quality HVAC filter, a HEPA air purifier, especially in the rooms where your family spends most of the time. Clean air matters. All air matters, but clean air matters. Look under your kitchen sink. Let's talk about something most people overlook. They're cleaning products. Think about what you're spraying on your countertops, your floors, your bathrooms every single week. Those chemicals don't simply disappear. We breathe them in, we touch them, our skin absorbs them, okay, a lot of them. Years ago, my family and I, we switched all of our cleaning products out. We started to look at the chemicals we were being exposed to, and we decided to make a change. So we moved all of our cleaning products for our home to a company. It's an American-made company or American-based company with natural ingredients. Company's name is Melaleuca. We've found they offer effective household and personal care products with cleaner ingredient profiles. Now, whether you choose to use Melaleuca or another company, that isn't really the point. If you have questions on that and would like to know more about it, I'm available for questions on it. But that's not the point. The principle is the point. Reduce unnecessary chemical exposure whenever you can. One better decision repeated over time creates a healthier home. Now let's look at personal care products, something many people never think about. Your skin is an organ. In fact, it's the largest organ in the body. What you put on it matters. Shampoo, conditioner, soap, lotion, deodorant, cologne, perfume, cosmetics, hair products. Again, don't become overwhelmed. When something runs out, replace it with a cleaner option. Within a year, your bathroom cabinet looks completely different. Your cookware, let's take a look at that next. Take a look at your pots and pans. If you're using nonstick cookware and it's scratched, that Teflon, those toxins end up in your body. It's probably time to replace it. So whenever possible, choose stainless steel or cast iron. Other high quality cookware is available, some ceramics and things, but we typically will use stainless steel or cast iron. Again, one decision, one improvement at a time, progress, not perfection. Now, read labels, not just marketing. One of the best habits you can develop is reading ingredient labels, not just the marketing materials. Marketing, remember, is designed to sell. Labels reveal what's actually inside. Natural, heart healthy, low fat, sugar free. Those statements don't tell you very much. Turn the package over, read the ingredients. If the ingredient list is a paragraph, it's probably worth asking why. One of the resources I've included in today's show notes is our Toxins to Avoid guide. It highlights many of the common preservatives, artificial sweeteners, food dyes, and additives commonly found in highly processed foods. You don't need to memorize every ingredient, just become more aware than you were yesterday. Now, shop like your great grandparents. Here's one of my favorite grocery store rules. Remember, when you go to the grocery store, perimeter shop. Better yet, farmers markets, local, seasonal, organic. But one of the grocery store rules, would your great grandmother recognize this as a food? Could she pronounce the ingredients? If the answer is no, maybe just leave it on the shelf. Now, is this a perfect rule? No, but it's a really good starting point. Eat foods that actually look like food. The more you choose foods that are grown locally, in season, and organic, that's the trifecta right there. That's the best way to choose your foods. Buy better quality, not more. One of the biggest mindset shifts I want you to make, don't go home and throw everything away. That's expensive and it's stressful. And frankly, it's really unnecessary. Instead, buy better when it comes time to replace something. Need a new water bottle? Buy stainless steel. Need new food containers? Buy glass. Need larger detergent? Choose a cleaner option. Shampoo? Upgrade the ingredients. One product at a time, one decision at a time, one room at a time. That's how lasting change happens. Now, here's where most people make the mistakes. They buy a detox supplement without changing anything that's filling their toxin bucket. They're drinking poor quality water, heating food in plastic, living on processed foods, breathing poor indoor air. using chemical cleaners, sleeping 5 hours a night, living under chronic stress, fluorescent lighting, not getting adjusted and caring for the nervous system, not exercising and sweating, and then wonder why they don't feel better from that detox supplement. That's like trying to empty a bathtub while the faucet is still running. The first step in detoxification is turning down the faucet. Reduce what's coming in, then support the body's incredible ability to eliminate what it's already carrying. Okay, 1% better. So 1% better at a time, small change over time. So before we move into our final chapter, I want to leave you with one challenge. Don't try to change everything. Just pick one thing, right? It's always about what's next. What's one thing that I can do right now that I can take action on? To install a water filter. Okay, buy a water filter, even if it's a pitcher. Replace one plastic bottle, read one ingredient label, download an app, buy one cleaner household product, replace one food container with glass, just one. Because health isn't built throughout giant leaps, it's built through faithful stewardship, one decision, one habit, one day at a time. And here's the beautiful part. Every healthier decision you make is another declaration of independence. Independence from toxic habits, independence from unnecessary chemical exposure, independence from simply accepting that this is just how everyone lives. Every healthier decision creates more freedom. Freedom to think more clearly, to move better, to serve longer, freedom to fulfill the purpose God has placed on your life. Now that we've talked about lowering the toxic load, the final question becomes, how do we support the incredible detox systems God's already put and built into the body? It's exactly what we're going to cover in the final chapter as we walk through the 90-day systemic reset and why detox is a process of preparation, support, and restoration, not just a quick fix. All right, hang in there with me. We're in the home stretch now. Chapter number 4 of Pillar 4, Toxicities. Chapter 4 is all about supporting the body's natural detox design. So we've identified where toxicities come from. We've talked about practical ways to lower the toxic burden. That naturally leads to one final question. How do I detox? That's probably one of the most searched for words in all of health and wellness today. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most misunderstood because detoxification isn't something you force. It's something that you support. One of the biggest misconceptions is that detox is about buying another supplement or a detox kit or something like that that can stress the body. It's not. Detoxification is a natural physiological process. It's something your body's already doing every second of every day. Our responsibility isn't to replace those systems, it's to support them. Remember, one of the things I love most about studying the human body is seeing the incredible wisdom of its design. God didn't create a body that needed a detox every January. He created a body that detoxifies continuously. Every minute, the liver's filtering blood. Every minute, your kidneys are filtering waste. Your lungs are removing carbon dioxide. Your digestive system is eliminating waste. The skin is sweating. The lymphatic system is transporting cellular debris. The immune system's constantly cleaning house. It's remarkable. The body's always working for us. Our goal isn't to replace those systems. The job is to remove the interference that's keeping them from working at their peak. Now, here's something many people never think about. Detoxification isn't passive. It's an energy-dependent process. Every detoxification reaction inside your body requires energy. And what's the energy currency of the body? It's ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Every cell needs ATP to function, which means if the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell, they aren't producing adequate energy, the body's ability to detoxify may also be compromised. It's one of the reasons we spent an entire episode talking about nutrient deficiencies, because detoxification isn't about removing toxins, it's about supplying the body with the nutrients it needs to perform the work. Healthy mitochondria, healthy nutrition, healthy detoxification, they all work together. Now, before we talk about a 90-day systemic reset, I want to point something out that I really appreciate about the HTMA report. It doesn't just identify potential toxic burdens, it also reminds us that we have foods in nature that support the body's normal detox processes. Notice what I said. I didn't say these foods detox the body. The liver detoxes the body. The kidneys eliminate waste. The digestive system removes what no longer belongs. These foods simply provide nutrients that help support the incredible systems God's already designed. Let's look at a few examples. Apples and pears. The skins of organic apples and pears contain a natural fiber called pectin. Pectin acts like a sponge in the digestive tract, helping bind certain compounds and support healthy elimination. Sometimes the simplest foods are the most incredibly powerful. Garlic. Garlic's one of nature's greatest gifts. It contains sulfur compounds that help support the liver's natural detox pathways. Okay, for the greatest benefit with garlic, use it fresh. Chop it, crush it, then let it sit for a few minutes before eating it. Sea vegetables like kelp, dulse, or wakame provide iodine along with important trace minerals that support healthy thyroid function and overall mineral balance. They remind us that the ocean is one of God's richest sources of nutrition. Cilantro, it's another food that has been studied for its ability to interact with certain metals, and it's often included as part of a nutrient-dense diet that supports the body's natural detox processes. Some people love it. Some people think it tastes like soap. Either way, it's another wonderful whole food to consider adding to your meals. Cruciferous vegetables. I also want to add one group of foods that I recommend regularly. Broccoli sprouts, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale. These vegetables contain naturally occurring compounds that help support the liver's normal detox pathways. Eat more of those foods unless you're showing a positive reaction to those on your food sensitivity report. So they're another reminder that some of the most powerful health tools aren't found in a bottle. They're found in the produce section of your grocery store at the local farmer's market or in your garden bed outside. Fiber and water. Finally, let's talk about something incredibly simple. Fiber and water. If the liver's processing waste, that waste has to leave the body. Healthy elimination matters. Healthy bowel movements matter. Fiber matters. Hydration matters. Foods like vegetables, fruit, chia seeds, ground flaxseed, and psyllium husk all help support healthy digestion and regular elimination. And don't forget the importance of clean filtered water. Water is the vehicle that helps move nutrients in and waste out. Now, one of the things I appreciate most about this list is that it reminds us not to overlook the basics. We live in a culture that's constantly searching for the next miracle supplement. Meanwhile, we already have been provided with so many tools that we need already in real food: clean water, fresh air, movement, sunlight, quality sleep. Supplements have their place. Testing has its place. Structured detox has its place, but never underestimate the power of consistently giving your body the things it was designed to receive. People often ask me, why don't we just jump right into a detox plan? Something aggressive, get it out of my body. Well, here's why. Imagine your home after a hurricane. The driveway's blocked, the gutters are clogged, the doors won't open, branches are everywhere. Would you immediately start hauling debris out of the backyard? Of course not. You'd clear the pathways first. Otherwise, where would the debris go? The body works exactly the same way. If the liver's overwhelmed, the gut isn't eliminating well, you're dehydrated, nutrient deficient, and your detox pathways aren't functioning efficiently, aggressively mobilizing toxins isn't the answer. In fact, it will make you sick. Preparation comes first, then detoxification, then restoration. That's exactly why we've developed our 90-day systemic reset. Not because it's slower, but because it's smarter. There are 3 phases. Our approach follows 3 intentional phases, each building one on the other. So phase 1 is a preparation phase. Everything begins with preparation. Before we ask the body to remove toxins, we support the systems responsible for removing them. We support healthy liver function, healthy kidney function, healthy digestion and bile flow, healthy methylation, hydration, bowel movements, healthy cellular energy production, because detoxification requires all those systems working together. Think of this phase as opening the doors before moving the furniture out of the house. Then we move into phase 2, which is the body phase. Once those pathways are functioning well, we begin supporting deeper systemic detoxification. This is where we support the body's natural detoxification process. Healthy glutathione, healthy antioxidants, healthy binding and elimination, healthy cellular repair. Again, we're not forcing detox, we're supporting the physiology that was programmed into us already. Phase 3, step 3, is the brain. The final phase focuses on the brain and nervous system. The brain is one of the most protected organs in the body. That's why we don't begin there, we finish there. We support healthy neurological function, healthy lymphatic drainage during sleep, reducing neuroinflammation, improving cognitive clarity, healthy cellular communication, prep, body, then brain. There's wisdom in the order. Now, I don't really think of this as a detox program. I think of it as a restoration program, a restoration of the environment in which the body was designed to thrive. Remember how we started today's episode. Health is the result of sufficiency and purity. That's exactly what we're doing. We're increasing sufficiency, reducing toxic burden, removing interference, supporting function. That's functional medicine. That's stewardship. Now, as we wrap up this 4-part SourceRx Foundations Series, I hope you've noticed something. None of these pillars stand alone. They all work together. The nervous system coordinates the body. Food sensitivities influence inflammation, immune response, and gut health. Nutrient deficiencies affect function. Toxicities increase the burden. Address one and you'll probably feel better. Address all 4 and you've created an entirely different environment for health. That's why we call it the SourceRx Functional Reset, because we're not chasing symptoms, we're restoring function. Now, since I'm recording this again on Independence Day, I'd like to leave you with one final challenge. Today, make your own declaration of independence. Declare your independence from excuses. Declare your independence from settling for average. Declare your independence from highly processed foods. Declare your independence from unnecessary toxic exposures. Declare your independence from believing that declining health is simply a normal part of getting older. Then tomorrow, begin living in the freedom those decisions create. Because independence is declared, freedom is lived. Every healthy decision we make creates more freedom. Freedom to think clearly, freedom to move well, freedom to serve our family, freedom to fulfill our calling, freedom to become everything God created us to be. Now, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your body is not failing you. It was designed intelligently. It's adapting to the environment you've given it. Change the environment, and you often change the outcome. Listen, if today's episode encouraged you, it was heavy. It was a lot of information. It really should bring everything all together in these 4 pillars. But if it's encouraged you, I've included several resources in the show notes to help you take the next step. The Source Toxicity Reference Guide to better understand the metals identified on an HTMA report. The Toxins to Avoid Guide to help you begin lowering your everyday toxic burden. I've posted a link in there to a companion blog article for today's episode. I've expanded on some of the concepts we've discussed today. And the SourceRx Functional Reset, that's the testing, along with a link to complete the online course where I guide you through all 4 pillars. There's an online course that supports this functional reset. The testing we use, how to interpret your results, how to create a personalized plan for lasting health. And remember, health isn't built in a day. It's built one decision at a time. One healthy meal, one workout, one good night's sleep, one glass of clean water, one less toxin, one restored deficiency, one faithful step after another. Progress, not perfection. That's the goal. Because at the source, we believe your body was created with an extraordinary capacity to heal, adapt, repair, and thrive. Our responsibility is to faithfully steward that gift by removing interference and providing the body with what it needs to function as it was designed. If you've enjoyed this 4-part SourceRx Foundation Series, stay tuned. In the episodes ahead, we'll dive deeper into each pillar. We'll bring in guest speakers, guests for interviews, explore the latest research, answer your questions, walk through real patient success stories, and share practical strategies to help you live with more health, vitality, and abundance. More energy, more purpose, more freedom. So until next time, I'm Dr. Gary, and remember to always find the source and simplify the solution.